There are a couple of uncomfortable admissions in this piece. A couple of them. A couple of times that I'm going to talk about something that I don't necessarily like, but something that I have to acknowledge is the truth. First of all, you guys are right. I am on the run from something. That's very clear. My background changes far too much for it to be healthy. I am attempting to avoid the authorities. The official charge in the United States, anyways, is having too much forehead. I am attempting to use hats to conceal that. But after all of this time on the run, I quite honestly, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to sustain this. I just felt like I should share the truth with you guys because you hang out with me every day for multiple videos, and it does mean a lot. And I just want you to know that before I am captured, and no doubt I disappear into some sort of CIA black site, I really do appreciate the support that you showed this channel, whether you agreed with what I was saying or not. After all, I am just a dude here to talk about stuff. Right. Sorry, checking the time. They're supposed to kick the windows in like 15 minutes, so I kind of have to record this and go. But the other uncomfortable truth is that we may be wrong. And what I mean is that we may be half wrong. And when I say we, I'm talking about all the people that are hating on all of these teams that are just playing like complete shit. Right at the Euros, and then not as much at Copa America, honestly. Even though Copa America's 90-minute then pens rule has given us 3 penalty shootouts in the first round, which is just awesome, by the way. No, I'm talking about these Euros teams that we've been dumping on for not really doing anything, whether it be England or France or Portugal. Right, these teams that show up and they just kind of try to control the game. They make sure you're not going to score. If they score, that's great, right? But they're playing in a way where they're trying to guarantee that the other team is not going to get a goal, right? They're trying to play the game in a way where they're not opened up. And one of the legends of the game has actually come out and talked about this as well. We're going to watch that video later. I think that we've seen once again over the course of this tournament that unbelievably, that style works. And it sucks. And the reason that I said we were half wrong is because the part we're not wrong about is that it is boring and bad for the game and annoying, and it sucks. But at the same time, it is very clear that it is possible to win playing this way. It's like uncomfortably clear that it's possible to win playing this way. And a great bit of proof is Gareth Southgate. Right now, he leads his team to a win over Switzerland, right? Finally pushes the team forward to score an equalizing goal after Switzerland's able to take the lead. But no team is able to get away from England. No game gets away from England. They are very much in it at the end of every match that they are playing. And then you summon up a Jude Bellingham or a Bukayo Saka, a truly wonderful strike by Bukayo Saka to close that gap, right? And Gareth Southgate is one of the most polarizing figures, it seems to me, that has existed in football in a long time. I mean, England's in a major tournament semifinal, and you're getting tweets like this from out-of-context Football Manager that say, Gareth Southgate has turned one of our greatest ever sides into an embarrassment. And then there's other people that get on the bandwagon. Brilliant penalties from England, Gareth Southgate getting England to another semifinal and proving people wrong once again. And I'm not going to say I'm on that side, right? I don't have a rooting interest when it comes to England at all. To be perfectly honest, it's kind of funny when England loses, like it just is. But the results don't lie. The most important thing in the sport are the results. And Stu Holden, who's an American pundit, he pointed this out really well. England with Southgate, World Cup semifinal, Euros final, World Cup quarterfinal, Euro semifinal, and a semifinal in which England will be the favorite against the Netherlands. Whether they should actually be or not is kind of up into interpretation. I think that game's basically a push. But England is now in 4 consecutive trips to at least the quarterfinal. In 3 of the 4 major tournaments that this guy has managed in, he's gotten to the semifinal, at least. Right? In the final, he got to a penalty shootout, which we all know is just basically a crapshoot in the first place. That could have been a win for England, for the first time since that one World Cup that England hangs on to on the men's side just absolutely rabidly. But what the other part of this tweet that you might have noticed, no semifinal in the 2 decades with Scholes, Rooney, Lampard, Gerrard, Ferdinand, Terry, like the 2 decades before Gareth Southgate. Nothing. No runs to the semifinal. No serious threats to actually win a major tournament, which means Gareth Southgate is doing something right. And he's doing it with a generation that people, believe is very good, but there's no way you're going to be able to convince me that they're that much more talented than the generation that was working at, in that England national team over the last 20 years previously. So it is painful almost for me to have to admit that what Gareth Southgate is doing works. That doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't mean it's fun to watch, and that doesn't mean it's good for the game. I want all of that to be incredibly clear, right? I am in the process of this video attempting to unpack emotionally myself exactly how I'm supposed to feel about this sort of thing, because as I mentioned earlier in this video, he's not the only one doing it. France is the first team in the history of the European Championships to make it to the semifinal without scoring a goal from open play. That should be fucking impossible. Okay, France has 3 goals, 2 own goals, and a penalty by Kylian Mbappe. That's it. Right? Those are the only times that France has put the ball in the back of the net the entire tournament. The only times. That should be impossible, but it's not. Right? And this is a France team that is capable of playing in beautiful, epic matches. They did it, obviously, multiple times in their run to the World Cup final. And then, of course, in their run to a World Cup title before that under Didier Deschamps. But the key to what Didier Deschamps is doing seems to be similar to the key of what Gareth Southgate is doing, which is we're going to control the pace of the match. We're going to limit what the other team gets. And if we get opportunities to score, we're going to take them. And the issue for France has been that they just can't score. They have over 8 XG from open play and 0 goals, right? Which is more than England, right? I mean, England is the one that is the perfect prime example of this. And even though people pretend that, France is worse at this, France has created more chances than England has from the run of play over the course of this competition. If you watch the matches the two teams have played, it's hard to argue with that. The stats back it up. France is just having really serious issues actually putting the ball in the back of the net. Not that England's not, but England also has roughly the same number of shots on target in this tournament as Poland, who was the first team eliminated in this competition, and you might have noticed is not in the semifinal, right? So England is not prolific in creation, even up to the standard that France is. But it's clear the way that France is playing by just not conceding goals, using its quality instead of trying to ambush and just attack the other team into oblivion, to control the game, limit the number of opportunities, only give open shots to Ronaldo because he's going to miss them. Those sorts of, little tactical tweaks that you can make in order to improve your odds of winning. It's working. I don't know what this says for the future of the game, but there is somebody that's way more intelligent than me when it comes to ball that does have something to say about what this says for the future of the game, and his name is Marcelo Bielsa. I'm going to defer to him in what was really a video that kind of summed up why I wanted to talk about this in the first place, because I saw this and then I knew I needed to talk about it. So Marcelo Bielsa obviously doesn't speak English. We're going to be working on subtitles here, but he is not someone known for being shy. So we'll do a little listen along here.
Lo ve más gente, pero cada vez es menos atractivo, porque no se privilegia lo que convirtió a este juego en el primer juego del mundo. Entonces, ese proceso al final se corta. No es que si usted deja que el juego lo vea mucha gente, pero no protege que lo que se mire es agradable, eso favorece al negocio, porque el negocio es que lo vea mucha gente, pero esa curva se corta. Cuando el fútbol, cuando pase el tiempo y cada vez los futbolistas que merezcan ser mirados sean menos, y cada vez que el juego que se produzca sea menos agradable, ese aumento artificial de los espectadores va a sufrir un corte, porque el fútbol no es 5 minutos de acción, el fútbol es muchísimo más que eso, es una expresión cultural, una forma de identificación.
I mean, no way I'm going to be able to say it better than that. Basically, the idea that the number of people watching and the number of people that care is eventually going to start to decrease if this is really where the game is headed. And there's going to be less players that people are willing to watch if this is really where the game is headed. Shout out to Marcelo Bielsa for always being willing to speak his mind. I'm obviously going to talk about his Uruguay team upsetting Brazil in the other ism today because that was absolutely crazy. But there is a need, a serious need for somebody to come along that is able to win in an exciting way. Because we have now unlocked this era of managers and teams that are capable of being successful while being incredibly boring. The problem being that being successful is the whole point of the game. So as long as they're able to continue being successful while being boring, then there's no reason for them to stop, because they're going to be directly rewarded for it. And you're going to be able to look at somebody like Gareth Southgate and go, God, he sucks, but his team wins more than it used to, right? Like the team does better under him than it used to before. And that is the metric that in the past we have always used, right? And with the exception of maybe the Brazilian national team where you have to play the Jogo Bonito, right? Like that is the metric that has always been applied to these sorts of situations. And I'm not saying that the metric needs to change. I'm saying a new ingenious manager, right? A new Pep needs to come along and figure out a way to reinvigorate the exciting parts of the game before we just fall into this monotonous 1-0 or penalty shootout come hell or high water sort of playing, because it's a problem because it's working. That's why it's a problem, because it works. It sounds weird, right?